Now, I had an owner of a firm that she used to ask two very key questions every month. Question one, do we have enough work for all the mouths that I have to feed in this business? It was understanding, where is the work coming from? Do we have enough to keep all of these consultants and engineers employed? And then question two always was, do we have enough people and bodies for all of the potential work that we could be committed to over the next 6 months in this case? In this case, for some of our technical engineers, they had about a 6-month ramp-up time. So if we hired somebody into the firm, they weren't really going to be what we called billable or revenue generating on a project for 6 months. So if we knew we were going to need another person, we had to have that kind of lead time to get them on board, get them in, get them trained, those kinds of things. So these were two questions that she would ask us all the time. Here was the challenge that we faced with this to kind of forecast. It was, how do we keep the information? And this is where we would get into this idea of separate silos of information. So from a business development standpoint, all the proposals or potential projects, they were kept in spreadsheets and all these different, nobody knew who they were, and we had about 3 different business development people, and each one kept their own list. So we would have to go to those business development people, and we would have to get their lists of everything that they were going to have, and figure out what's out there and how many, in this case, how many engineering hours are across all these. So we would have to pull all that together. Then, as project managers, we would go look through our project plans to figure out, what engineers are on what projects over the next 6 months and who's working on what, to get to the question. Because, at the time, I think we had about 64 of these, technical engineers on staff, and the idea was, how loaded are the 64 over the next 6 months? And if we, are they good? If we bring on more projects, can they take them? Are they going to be overloaded? Or the projects that are going to come in based on when things are going to finish? Is it, as I even talk about it, you start to think of all the different data and everything we would have to pull to get it. And in our case, many times it was done in spreadsheets. We were pulling and merging spreadsheets and doing these things. So it kind of got to this idea of, are there tools that can track, that are built for project-based firms that can track on opportunities? Okay, we have 15 opportunities out there, and across the 15 opportunities, this one has 40 engineering hours, this one has 20, this one has 5, this one has 400. Oh, okay, and based on when we expect they're going to close, that would mean this in engineering hours over the next 6 months. Also, we have what our current engineers on staff are already looking at. And it's using the technology. Computers are smart. They can do math. Let the computers do the math to spit back and say, based on what it could come in over the next 6 months, if everything that you think could come in over the next 6 months comes in, that's the X number of engineering hours. You already have your engineers working at this rate, and they have this amount, Y number of hours available to fill. Y minus X means we need more engineers. Or Y minus X means we need to find more work. We're going to have engineers who are sitting on the bench without enough work to do. So we've got complex opportunities that we're tracking that are expenses, and I need a senior engineer who speaks Spanish to work on this project, and I need a consultant who's got 10 years experience, has these certifications, and has a passport and these vaccinations to be able to do a job in Africa. So those are some of the things that as a project-based business we've got to look at and we have to consider so that we can manage those types of projects. So those are just kind of some of the things that we have to think about when we say, again, those two questions: do I have enough work for all the mouths I have to feed, and do I have enough resources? We used to have to bring in all of our project managers and business development team for a week. Every quarter she would ask this question. And we'd spend a week sitting in a conference room, pulling spreadsheets and whiteboards and saying, okay, here's how many hours we have here, just to answer two simple questions. She didn't want to put anybody out on the street, but if we had to get some people hired, we needed to get on it.